All right, everybody. Thanks for being with us here. We appreciate everybody stopping in with us. I hope everybody's doing well. If you have questions, you can go ahead and drop it into the chat or shoot me a text and we'll get things rolling. But we'll do questions once Coach Satterfield gets done with his opening statement. So, Coach, we'll go ahead and let you start us off.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I think obviously a exciting day for all football programs across the country, and particularly ours. We've been working on this class over a year, really probably a year and a half with these guys. As you think about last year, guys were able to come. Some of these guys were able to come watch us play last fall. We also had some on campus during basketball season last year before the pandemic hit. So we were able to really get a head start in that regard. And then probably the most unique recruiting in the history of recruiting this year for everybody, and including the student athletes and their families, as well as our coaches, our recruiting department here, and everything that we've been having to deal with and having to go. As you think about through last spring, even the NCAA rules were changing, to accommodate how we needed to recruit these student athletes. And we learned a lot. I think we learned a lot about how to use technology and how to overcome. We've kind of shared with you guys about how we've did a lot of virtual visits, trying to bring the campus to the families within their home without leaving the home. Our guys did an incredible job with that and how they laid that out. And a lot of hours watching computer screens and visiting with families and recruits and throughout this whole period of time. And just glad to be able to get to this point right here. Usually I think usually most of the time, as you go to think about till signing days, there's always a few surprises. And fortunately for us, we really didn't have any surprises this time. We were able to hit on our targets that we wanted and the guys that wanted to be here. And we're excited about these families that are coming in here. 21 guys signed. We were done today by 10:30. Probably the earliest we've ever been done with a signing class. 13 defensive players, 8 offensive players, met a lot of needs with that. As you think about these players, 14 of these guys were team captains. I think it's one thing that we wanted to look at. We want to look at leadership. We wanted guys that can lead in that kind of way. When we talk about our type of team that we want, I think that's huge for us. Average GPA coming in here over a 3.0 in this class, so academics are important to them. I think also the fact that out of these 21, 10 of these guys are coming in January. So half the class will be here when we get back here January 11th. So excited about that. And for us, it's going to be some of the time we'll meet the families and probably for the first time really in person that weekend when they come move in. So we're really excited about that as well. And I know that'll get here very, very soon. And so as you think about our team from last year and how we finished up, I think obviously it was a great finish to our season, beating Wake Forest. And really, it was senior day, but we talked about how many young guys made plays. And so we really feel really good about those guys. And we can't wait to get back in here and start working with these young players. And then you start adding this mix to our team. It's a very exciting time. So, I'll open it up with questions now you guys may have on any of these guys.
All right, we'll start with Cameron, then go to Jody, and then to Tim.
Yeah, Scott, really quick, before we get into all the signing day stuff, do you know what you guys are going to do for a bowl game? I know Virginia Tech just opted out of one as well. I didn't know if you guys had a plan for what you guys were going to do.
Well, Vince has been in communication with the ACC this week, and we're not in line for a bowl, so we're moving forward for next season.
Jody.
And then I guess on recruiting, this class, it looks, like you said, 13 defensive guys, a lot of guys big guys, versatile guys that can play a lot of spots. Was that the priority when you guys started getting this class going?
Yeah, I 100%, Cameron. Some of the guys particularly that can play defensive back / outside linebacker. We're very multiple in our defense. As you guys watch us play, if you think about like a lot of times on third downs, here comes 8 new guys coming on the field defensively. So we wanted guys that can be versatile, and we feel like we got a lot of good guys that can play multiple positions on that side of the football, and that's what you want, to be able to have versatility within the position, whether it be a free safety, a strong safety, an outside linebacker, because we like to bring those guys off the edge as well. So a lot of different body types. I think as you look at the defensive line too, there's 5 guys there, but there are different body types as well. to be able to play different spots within the defensive line. Yes, I think versatility comes to mind when we think about some of those defensive guys.
Jody.
Scott, when you look at the class, this is Jody Dimley with Cardinal Authority. When you look at the class as a whole, I think you've got guys from 9 different states, and you kind of, from where you went last year, in the previous years, you went back to Georgia, got a lot from Florida and obviously Carolina, but you branched out to some other states. Is that kind of something that you did on purpose, or was it one of the things with the year and kind of just how it worked out?
Well, I think we certainly have a lot of ties in those 4 states that you mentioned, but yeah, we looked all over. I mean, we looked all over the country really, and so what ends up happening, and this is obviously early on in the process. You go all the way back till like right now, and you start thinking about guys, which we already are for 2022 class as well, and you start getting these names, and you start watching the film, and you like the way they play. Then you reach out to them, you talk to their high school coach, you talk to them and their family. And then there's a mutual match there. And I think then you just start recruiting, you just start building that relationship, and you end up sticking with some of those guys. And I think that's how we were able to get some guys from different parts of the country this year. A lot of it is need based as you think about, particularly, let's look at tight end position. So we're looking all over the country to find the best. We feel like the best tight ends that fit for what we want and what we do. And then you start narrowing it down. Who has interest for you? And then you end up with what you have. And so maybe some of that had to do with this year because, we were not really able to get out. But I think this is kind of how we do it anyway. I think, we're just kind of casting a net, and then you start narrowing it down to the guys that have interest for you and you like them, and it just becomes a good fit for you.
Tim.
Yeah, Scott, one of the concerns after your conversations with South Carolina was that it was going to hurt recruiting. It looks like to keep this class pretty much intact. Was there a lot of hand-holding toward the end? Did you have to explain yourself and that you were indeed staying?
I mean, we had conversation along the whole time with our recruits, and really nothing has changed. Nothing changed with that. And so our guys knew that we're focused on Louisville and we're focused on getting this program to the top. And so they really, you mentioned hand-on. It really wasn't that. I mean, really, it's just the relationship we've been able to build with these guys over a course of months, 10 months for a lot of these guys, is still strong, and they're excited about getting here, and so we're excited about getting them here too. And as I mentioned, some of these we haven't seen these guys in maybe a year, and some of them haven't been here, so we're just excited to get them here and see what they look like, and then start working with them.
Okay, that's a second question. There are no Kentucky players in this class. Was this a thin year in the state, or did you just find better opportunities elsewhere?
No, we certainly recruited some guys from Kentucky, from the state of Kentucky. I don't think it was that strong a year across the board in the state, high school related, but we certainly recruited some guys, and for whatever reason didn't work out, and but we're always looking, and we'll get some guys. We'll get some walk-on guys from the state to come in here, which I think we've proven in the 2 years we've been here that we will play them. So we're looking forward to some of those guys that'll be coming in from this state and this area. They'll have a great opportunity, just like these guys that are signing. So I think as we look forward, a year from now, 2 years from now, we'll probably see some guys from the state of Kentucky from this class that will contribute to our football team.
Thank you.
Yep.
Go to Michael and Cameron.
Hey, Coach, Michael McCammon from Cardinal Authority. I want to talk quarterback, kind of a two-part question. One, what do you like in TJ Lewis? Obviously, he's kind of coming from a run-heavy program, but what did you like from it, especially maybe on his arm a little bit? And then you lost T. Webb, so what's your thoughts, I guess, on the status of the quarterback room as a whole?
Yeah, I think first of all with TJ, man, what a great person. I think he embodies what we were looking for. A very smart kid. He's above a 3.0. Great athlete, number one. He's a winner. He's a captain. He's a leader. So he embodies everything that you're looking for to have on your football team, regardless of the position. So one thing that we loved about him was the versatility that he's going to bring to our team. Whether it be quarterback, whether it be, he can play receiver, he can play the defensive backfield. We think he can play a lot of different positions. We'll give him a great look at the quarterback position, and as you mentioned, with T moving on, and we'll be on the lookout for another quarterback out there. As we look at transfers and that type of thing, we'll see what's available and what's going to be out there. We all know, you'd like to have at least 4 quarterbacks on your team to be able to come in and play. It just so happened this year that Cunningham pretty much bulk of all the snaps this year offensively. He stayed healthy throughout the whole year. As you look back to last year, we had to play 3 quarterbacks. So you want to have at least, 4 guys that you can go to that you feel good about. So we'll be on the look for that. But we love what TJ brings to the table. Like I said, he's a lot of things that we're looking for.
Cameron.
Yeah, Scott, for a long time, you guys have been talking about this recruiting class and kind of how excited you were to get them in. It's probably going to finish as the highest ranked class you've ever had, probably one of the better ones in Louisville. What about this class stands out to you, and what about this class you think can shape the rebuild that you're trying to do here?
Well, I think we met a lot of the needs that we were looking for with the type of people. I think number one, when I talk about captains, I think that's the leadership piece is what we're looking for to bring in here. Guys that are hungry, the guys that can lead within the group without much prodding from coaches. I think that's huge. That type of player that we want. And you talk about, guys that we think can play. Like Ben Perry, I think can play anywhere in the country. Ben's that kind of player. You're talking about versatility that he brings. He's very smart, a heady person. He's certainly the kind of player that we're looking for. It's just a Travion Cooley, running back. He's one of the top running backs in the country. And, Coach McKenzie and the offensive staff did an outstanding job recruiting him. I think he could play anywhere in the country with his skill set. He didn't play this year. He's a guy who, as a running back terms, he has a lot of football left in him. As you think about running backs, he's basically played 1 year at running back. So I think his upside is tremendous. And we all know we want to be able to run the football. He's, I talked yesterday, he's 208 pounds now, so he's going to be a very big, powerful running back. To go along with what we do have. We just saw what Mitchell did, last Saturday. So, and Hassan Hall, who's game-breaking speed. So, I think we were able to add in this class not only some great depth that's going to be able to come in here and help our football team, but I think there's guys in this class that'll come in here that are going to push to be starting and playing time. And so that's what you want. You want to be able to bring guys in that are going to be right there with the guys that have been playing, because now you're going to have competition every single day at these positions, but we all know that there's going to get guys dinged up, and other guys are going to have to step in. It won't be as much drop off. I think we saw that against Wake when we started 6 freshmen, on offense. So those guys were coming in, they're ready to play. They played at a high level, and I think that's what we kind of want to add on to the mix here, create that great depth that we're going to need as we move forward.
We'll go to Kent and to Jody and to Max.
Yeah, Scott, recruiting in a pandemic, was it with all these prospects not able to go to schools and take all their visits, was it easier this year to kind of hold off schools or kind of keep your guys that you already had committed?
Well, probably was, in the fact that, you can't, because you always worry as a coach, we always tell these guys before you commit, we want you to make sure you want to come play for us. We're not one of these programs that just pressures these guys. We got to have your commitment. We got to have your commitment. I want them to know they want to come be a part of our program. And so, in that sense, yes, they really couldn't go evaluate and visit many more schools. I feel like in the years past, when you get into December and it gets down to it, we've heard guys, listen, coach, I want to go take this visit. We don't ever like those type conversations, because obviously they go somewhere else and they see something last. They may think this may be best for me. So I in that sense, maybe. But I think the one thing about this class is that the relationship that we established last spring and summer is as strong as we've ever had a relationship with any class we've ever recruited. And so we felt really, really good about it when we headed into the fall. Before we even really played any games, we felt really, really good about this class. And I think it just strengthened as we headed throughout the whole fall. And, with the character these guys have, I think it's exactly what we were looking for.
Jody.
Scott, you've talked a lot about depth on defense, especially on the line and getting more guys up there. You bring a really good kind of different group, because they all bring a little something different, but all 5 of those guys up front. Can you just talk about that kind of haul on the defensive line that Coach Ivy's getting?
Yeah, we're getting some great ones up front. I think the one thing that stands out for us is length. As you look at the size of these guys, they're long-armed, 6'4", 6'5" type guys that have quick twitch. I mean, these guys are fast. We feel like we're going to get some great pass rushers out of this bunch that's coming in the defensive line. You know, some of them are maybe a little bit on the lighter side right now, but they do have the length. We feel certain they're going to be able to put the great weight on by the time we get to the fall. They're going to be at the size that we need them to be able to compete. And then, of course, the year after that, they'll be a little bit bigger. And, you know, we love getting these guys that are in that 215 to 230 range there that are very, very fast. When we put the proper muscle on and the quick twitch they're going to bring to the table. You know, Vic, I mean, he's outstanding speed rusher off the edge, you know, tremendous. Raheem Craig, very, very fast. And shoot, all of them. I mean, really. And as you look, even the size that we're able to get, Caleb Banks, who's we list him at 6'7", 265. I don't know if he's that tall, but he's pretty daggone tall. And you know, he's quick. I mean, you know, so he's a different size quick, you know, that we're going to bring to the table. So yeah, we're excited about what we have coming in that D-line bunch.
Max.
Coach, this is Max Olson from The Athletic. Had an off-topic question for you. I'm writing about your friend Matt Campbell this week, and Jason Candle told me about the lunchtime pickup games y'all used to play. So I was wondering if you kind of give me the breakdown of just how great those battles were back in the day.
Yeah, we had some great battles back in the day there at Toledo. You know, we're all competitive and all like to win. We still have those battles here at Louisville. Not the last 10 months because of COVID, but prior to that, you know. So I think really what it boiled down to for us there, and it does here, is this staff camaraderie that you have with each other. You know, you just want to compete with each other, and at the end of the day, you know, you would create a great bond. And I just think great bonds come down through your players. And when the staff has that bond, your players are going to have that bond, and you have a great working relationship. And I think that's why we've been successful. I think that's why Matt's successful and Candle successful the same way, just the way we run our programs.
All right, we'll take the last three: Cameron, then Michael, then Jody.
Yeah, Scott, I think you may have, correct me if I'm wrong, two spots left on the class. What do you, I mean, obviously you will keep your eyes open for that. Is there anywhere on the team specifically you're looking to fill spots in before camp starts, or regardless of your policy?
I think so. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, quarterback would be one. You know, offensive line's another. You know, that we would keep our eyes open for. You know, and then any best available player too out there. You know, as you look, you know, depending on what we may see out there. I mean, I think this year is kind of starting unprecedented times in college football when you start looking at the transfer portal, and I think it's going to only continue to grow as we think about one-time transfers. It's probably going to go into effect next month in January, and so as we move forward through this, it's going to change recruiting. It's going to change recruiting for everybody. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that works out. But I think O-line, quarterback, and maybe best available are kind of how we're in that order. Is kind of how we're looking at it.
Michael.
Coach, last class you brought in a couple safeties that saw the field some this year. This year you got a couple that look like impact guys as well. Can you just talk a little bit about Ben and Braylon and what they bring to this team?
Yeah, you know, we know we need some more help in the defensive back room, whether it be safeties and/or corners, and we felt really good about the ones we brought in last year. When you talk about Greedy at corner and Trey Clark at corner and Minkins and Lovey Jenkins at safety, and all those guys played this year, and they're getting better and better. It's exciting to watch them play. You know, Lovey made some great plays out there Saturday. Josh Minkins did. Trey Clark has all year. So those guys are going to continue to get better, and we feel like in this class here, we're going to create a lot more depth, and we think these guys can come in and compete right away, and that's going to be fun to watch. We got four DBs coming in January out of this bunch. So I mean, they're going to come in right now and learn the defense, go through spring practice, and we know they'll make mistakes and those type things. But then they'll go through the summer, and they're just going to help add that depth that we're going to need there. And we'll be young in the defensive backfield next year, but we feel like they're really good players that are going to be back there, and these guys will add to that depth.
All right, we'll wrap up with Jody.
Coach, obviously you're losing some really good skill guys off of this team, but the skill guys that you added with Cooley and then the two wide receivers with Cannon and Amari Huggins-Bruce are pretty dynamic guys. Can you just speak on the three of them and guys that could actually come in and maybe see some reps right away?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all three of those guys we anticipate coming in and playing. I mean, all three of those guys are going to be here in January. As you look at the running back and two wideouts, and so we certainly know that we need help at those two positions because you mentioned we lost some great players that played here with Fitzpatrick, Tutu, Hawkins. I mean, great production. So these guys are going to have to come in and learn the offense really quickly. Go through spring practice, earn the respect of their teammates, earn their playing time. Essentially, is what they're going to have to come in here and do. They're all eager and willing to do that. They're excited about it. They're going to have great opportunity as we go out there. So we open up with Ole Miss, the first game, and so we're going to have to have those guys. We know Ole Miss can score points, so we know we're going to have to score next year and right off the bat. And those guys we feel like can do it, and that's why we recruited them for this class. And so can't wait to get started with them.
All right, we'll finish up on that, Coach. We appreciate it. Thanks everybody for being with us.
Thank you, guys.